The Royal Saudi Family. Phase 2. Switching Bosses. It is common for private service professionals in the world of the Royal Saudi family to hop around from family to family. In fact, it's kind of a running joke between PSPs in that industry. Upon traveling to places like London, Paris, and Casablanca, I would see the same PSPs, but they would be with different families. We ran into each other because the Saudis all congregate in the same ultra-exclusive hotels and restaurants during the summer months. At some point, I also switched gears and started working for another prince in a very large entourage. Here's how it all works. The Royal Saudi family, aka the House of Saud, has thousands of family members. Depending on who you speak to, the number always varies. I would guesstimate there are about 10,000. The different families have rank, so it's a type of hierarchy. When we landed the private jet in a new city, for example, there would be a whole fleet of cars waiting on the tarmac with the red carpets rolled out. Most people have seen these types of royal limo motorcades on the news or in person, but organizing it in real life is a logistical nightmare. The highest ranking people get in the cars first, which also need to be a higher model Mercedes. Yes, you read it correctly. These types of crazy things I had to organize. The head prince, let's say, would be in the lead car in a 600 series Mercedes. That meant the next car behind him had to be the next model down, or the people who arranged it would get their heads cracked together for messing up. This whole operation posed major challenges when a Saudi royal family private 747 would land, and 50 to 100 people would exit the jet in a mad frenzy to keep up with the head prince who already sped off. That's right. If a subordinate prince fell behind or got lost, he may get reprimanded or lose favor in some way. The other issue, if you got lost from the lead car, it was a real problem because nobody knew where the head prince wanted to go. We never knew until we actually got there. As an assistant, I had to try to anticipate the VIP's actions, so I had to make dinner reservations at several restaurants. Sidebar. Quickly, I would like to address any judgments you may have about the Royal Saudi family's lifestyle. They are not unlike any other high net worth family or VIP group. In fact, I've worked with several A-list celebrities, especially the divas, that are even more demanding and unpredictable than the Royal Saudi family. I never once saw a Royal Saudi family member scream or raise their voice, ever. How many stories have we heard about celebrities punching staff members, refusing to come out of their trailer, or throwing phones at people? The list is endless, and you know who I'm talking about. Naturally, the prince liked going to the best places, and I need to shell out really big bucks to reserve the tables last minute. So, when we didn't show up, I lost hundreds or even thousands of dollars in bribes. Sorry, no refunds. In Las Vegas, on one occasion, my boss wanted a VIP table at the hottest nightclub in the best casino, so I had to arrange it. Last minute, of course. Cost me about $10,000 for the VIP table and payoff money for the manager, who had to kick someone else out of their seat. Yes, it's true. I watched him do it. For 10 grand, you probably do it too. My boss arrived at the club, stayed for one song, and left. He told me he didn't like the music. He ended up gambling instead and spent about $100,000 in cash on blackjack. That only took about 30 minutes. I never saw so much money spent so fast on so little. Another similar situation involved buying out a movie theater at the last minute. My boss wanted to see the newest action movie on Saturday night, and of course, nobody else was allowed in the theater except him and his entourage. He let me know at 8:30, and the show started at 9:15. I rushed to the movie theater and told the manager I needed to buy out that show. After the manager got done laughing at me, he informed me that it would be impossible because the movie was sold out and the patrons were already seated inside. On the spot, I negotiated an outrageous price that involved him canceling the show and refunding all the moviegoers. The manager had to tell everyone that the projector broke down and the show was canceled. I simply snuck my boss in through the emergency exit and nobody knew the difference. That little stunt cost me about $10,000. Coming up with solutions like this is what we call out-of-the-box problem solving. You will need to come up with things you never dreamt possible so that you don't have to tell your boss you couldn't make something happen. Of course, the VIP also needs to be willing to give you a budget to make things happen. Some very thrifty employers won't give you the money you need to tip people, and that is a whole separate problem. Since we were always pulling these crazy kinds of stunts, it was not at all uncommon for us to have briefcases full of cash. There were many times I literally cleaned out local banks of spare money because they didn't have enough cash in the safe to cover what we needed. Many of the royal Saudis don't like using credit cards. I don't know why. I think it's a privacy issue because credit cards leave a digital trail. Trips to the bank sometimes meant weighing the money because the denominations we required were too big to count out by hand. Even with automatic counters, it took too long. Several banks refused to help me, so I had to pay the managers off just to stay in good graces. The reason they were so upset about it was because the regular customers would get angry when the bank couldn't give them the money they needed. Eventually, I had to talk to my boss into giving me more notice about the cash he wanted so the bank could order it ahead of time. We had to arrange a special delivery in an armored car. In general, banks do not keep as much money on hand as they used to for two reasons. First, it's not needed as much today because of automatic payroll deposits and the ubiquitous use of debit cards. Second, the banks don't like to lose too much money if they get held up. Also an insurance company issue. But it does pose problems for high rollers who need large volumes of money on short notice. Tip: if you're going to be traveling with your boss, make sure you have special arrangements ahead of time so that you can make your employer happy. For example, if he or she smokes a certain brand of cigarettes that are hard to find, call ahead to make sure someone carries them. If not, plan to bring extra cartons as backups. Once again, out-of-the-box problem solving is the name of the game.